going to call the meeting to order. Could we have adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
And
Oh, sorry.
we're fine. So I'll move. Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Our next is the reading, sorry, we will do pause to seek guidance, please. Okay. Next is the reading of the mission statement: to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. There are no presentations or delegations tonight. The council minutes of September 26, 2016. Is there any errors or admissions?
I'll move for adoption of the minutes for September 26th.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Old business or business arising? Counselor Manzer?
No.
Counselor Tudor?
No.
Deputy Warden?
None.
And I have none. Next is new business, the Gilbert's Cove Lighthouse fundraiser. I had got an email from them, and I had told them, yes, that I would definitely attend, and they had asked me to send it on. So I called and checked with Debbie, and she met with our council. So when I'm asking, is there any other council members that would like to attend the Gilbert's Cove Lighthouse fundraiser? George?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I don't.
Do you want me to send the, that you will be attending?
Yeah, or what about tickets?
The tickets will be at the door, and as long as we say, then we pay for the tickets then, okay? And then we'll just put it on your expense sheet.
Okay.
I noticed they only had room for 36 people.
Yes, 35, I thought it was.
35 people?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how their tickets are selling? Because if they may not have any left, is all I'm asking.
Well, she knew that she wanted me to make sure I asked, and I told them it wouldn't be till tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to email her as soon as this evening's over.
All right. Yeah, I'd like to have a ticket too.
Okay, so there's three of
So
us.
can you reserve me two?
Sue?
Me and Helen, and
Okay. Yeah, just knowing that, yeah, if you order two, you got to pay for two.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah,
then.
you know what I meant. Yeah. Okay, yep, so there will be 4 tickets altogether. And like I said, she told, because I said to her, did she want to bill the municipality upwards? And she said, long as she would prefer cash, if we would bring cash. The islands, oh, I thought someone said something. The Islands Consolidated School encounters with Canada funding requests. When I read this, she hasn't got any student in mind yet. She's sort of asking beforehand. Is that what I'm reading from it?
There's a Catherine Pine, grade 11 student who's participated last
No, that was
time.
last year,
Yeah,
and her,
yeah,
and her
yeah, yeah.
stuff is there. But she said for but there's no student yet. So I think what we would have to do.
When you have a student, let us know.
Is send her
So,
Yeah.
that our policy is, we do sponsor, but we have to have the students.
We got, remember we got 2 kids this last time.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And that kid is now our queen, our scallop queen. The same girl that we sent, and she says
that's the girl.
yeah, and she said that it really helped her for public speaking, and that
I read
this
her
led
letter.
to that.
It was nice.
Interestingly enough, you know
I
what I mean?
like that she danced or they had a dance all night.
I like that
I
she.
wonder if that's what they really meant.
In the parade in Freeport, she called my little girls up to be her ladies in waiting. They're on the scallop. Oh, so cute.
Okay. So, would someone like to move that we send a letter to Julie Ketty?
Let us
the
know when you have
guidance
someone in
counselor,
mind.
That once they have someone, that our policy is we need the people.
Yeah, I'd make that motion.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded, motion carried.
I'll fill in Julie. Actually, somebody asked me for her phone number today. I didn't have it.
The next?
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
The next is Department of Business, the Rural Internet Connectivity. And this is the one that we would like to agree to be part of. As you saw, there was different municipalities that are agreeing.
Actually, this is a letter that was being sent on behalf of the mayors and wardens of the
Yeah.
municipalities, asking, it's not the intermunicipal agreement, it's a letter of support, or a letter.
Yeah, it's the letter of support.
No.
But what I was explaining is this is going to be the first step.
Mhm.
Now,
Let's get this show on the
there
road.
is a rumor, right, that the province might, but we're still
Might
going
what?
ahead with it.
Well, this is, yeah, we're still requesting from the province to consider paying for the project manager or technical advisor. I think that's still going forward.
This is a rumor?
Yeah, the province might do it anyway.
Oh, just put it in.
No,
No.
there's
A
some.
feasibility study,
the-
right?
the-
They might spring for the study.
The province has already hired a consultant who's going to do some type of asset analysis and engineering study. So what we need to find out, and what our group, the working group is doing, is looking to see, to make sure that what the province plans to do is the same thing that we were planning to do.
So we don't duplicate.
And if it is, then we don't have to go through the actual RFP process, but we still want to be able to, and what we want to do is make sure that information is information that we can use for this area for putting in an application. So those things still have to be determined.
Jimmy?
I read the letter and I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the new business? Like, is there a decision coming from council, or is this more
To-
correspondence?
No, this is, I guess, I want approval from council for the warden to be able to sign this letter.
Oh, okay, because I thought we already made a motion last,
To,
Time we met.
to enter
Yeah.
into the intermunicipal agreement.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a
But
letter.
this is for the letter of support.
I'll make a motion that the warden sign the letter going to the province in regarding to the rural internet connectivity.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded?
Has there been any response from those, from the other municipalities that were thinking about joining, like Argyle or Yarmouth municipality?
We've reached out to them. My task, I was to reach out to Barrington and Municipality of Yarmouth, and both of those CIOs are very much interested. So, and I don't know how the other people made out talking to Shelburne and Argyle. We have another meeting scheduled, the working group.
Okay. The next is Ken Hall Art Letter of Support. Now, just to let everyone know, a letter came in, or an email came in to me today, asking me, just a minute. I hate it when I'm trying to find something quick. A letter came in to me today from Ken Hall, and they were sent back. It is on the tonight's agenda, but I also sent them had they already talked to the people in the community on Broader Island. I have not heard back from that.
The village is interested as well. They never. I went to a meeting. They're supposed to write a letter, and I'll go over tomorrow and get my letter.
So what I can suggest, if, once council, looks at this, if they're willing to write a letter of intent, we can write the letter of intent, or letter of support, on the condition that they consult with the community for any location. And the other question I had is, like, he said, once the exhibit's over, like, what happens to the sculpture? 'Cause it wasn't
I
clear.
think it'll be recycled. Is his hope? I
Yeah,
believe.
but there's a whole metal
Frame.
frame that's the size of a full-size right whale, and it's going to be filled
We've got
with garbage, or sort of
Flotsam and jetsam.
beach debris.
Yeah.
So then he said, then when the exhibit's over, he'll dispose of the debris, but then I guess, so what happens to this great big sculpture?
Jimmy?
Ideally, they could keep it there without no garbage in it. It would be kind of cool just to have that framework like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But if they don't, the scrapyard in Marshalltown will take it.
He's asking for $150,000
From
from
the
the
fr-
Canada
from the fr-
150 fund, so I would hope that it would be something that would be a legacy and
I
last.
would too, yeah.
Permanent, yeah.
But I guess my concern was that it's, that this is a huge piece of art, like,
Oh.
that the community is consulted on
Mhm.
whether they want it, where
Yeah,
it
I've
should
been
go.
talking to people, and I've talked about it at the last village meeting in Westport. So there has been consultation, I guess, in that manner. There was, maybe 10 people plus, 15 people altogether, and it was a community meeting. And I told them a couple other people to get a hold of, like the Clean Foundation, for example.
So anyway, if we can do it on the condition that they do, I think that would be, because there is a timeline, he needs to put his application in by next Monday, so.
Yes, it has to be gone. Does someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
That we write a letter of
That we
support?
write a letter, but I don't need it, I don't necessarily want a condition. I don't think he's just gonna leave a pile of garbage there.
Yeah, but I think the condition should be that they consult Briar Island.
Oh, yes, of course, of
That's
course.
the condition,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the condition.
Yeah. Continue consulting with, because they already have been.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Contrary minded,
Oh, sorry.
motion carried. The next is the Jordantown Acaciaville Conway Betterment Association, and they are asking for a letter of support so that they can do this reunion.
I'll make the motion that we write a letter of support for the Jordantown Acaciaville Conway Betterment Association regarding the 150th anniversary funding from the federal government.
Is there a
and
second? Oh, sorry.
regarding the reunion.
Is there a second?
I'd second that for sure.
Okay.
I have to say that this is the same groups that is doing the other project, right?
Mhm.
It's awesome to have these little groups pop up, and these guys seem to be quite active. It's just that bodes well for their community. I find these groups are useful.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Legacy 150 dissolution, and as you can see here, as per Section 53 of the Canada Legacy Society Agreement, the municipality of the District of Digby approved the recommendation of the directors for dissolving of the Canada Legacy Society. And then we'll have a meeting after to wrap up. The bottom line is, we were formed for the 150. 2 years was spent on it. It went, in the end, nowheres, and there's no sense in keeping something alive that's dead.
That's right.
So no money at all for that group?
Did we shovel money over to them?
No, we never gave a penny.
Good.
Well, what we, I shouldn't say that. We gave some of Peter McCullen's DDA and to them.
Mhm.
But there's been no money passed hands. They said on the phone last week, that they had spent, they felt between $30,000 and $50,000 themselves on the project,
Who said that?
Annapolis County. But they were not seeking any kind of money from any of the municipalities.
So I guess we'll have to just be positive and friendly to them for being so generous.
Whatever.
Of course, we
Well, I
should
don't know
always
where
do
that number
policy.
came from, but I think they were counting staff time, apparently. I think that's what
Hugs
I
for
found.
everyone. Excellent out there.
Okay, so could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the meeting dates. Remember, we're meeting tomorrow at 4:30
Your bell's on.
for bylaw and policy. November the 7th at 6, there's a special council meeting, which is the swearing in of the new council. On November 9th and 10th, Matthew Ross and our CAO will be attending the new council orientation. November the 14th, we will, at 4:30, we'll have the committee of the whole. November 16th at 10 to 1 is the Rural Internet Workshop. November 21st at 1 is the Highway 101 Task Force. November 21st at 4:30 is a special council meeting to be confirmed. November 21st at 4:45, bylaw and policy. November 28th at 6 o'clock is council. November 29th to December the 2nd is the UNSM in Halifax. December 5th at 4:30 is the bylaw and policy. Now, there was the updates on council, capital projects, special projects and initiatives. I saw no decision or direction requests, and there was no update on action items. Anyone have any yes?
For UNSM, Pat, I think Pat booked the rooms, right?
Right.
What about registration? Does that automatically register us, or do we have to call?
No, Pat has done that.
Okay, so we're all registered.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And the rooms are at the Westin?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
The next is, could we have approval of the September 26 payables in the amount of $387,621.90?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. And then there was the income and expense report of September 2016. Correspondence information, we had the transportation and infrastructure renewal, Wharf Rat Rally, and lotteries and casino corp. Okay.
That letter from
The-
transportation,
The other,
Jimmy just says something.
oh,
that letter from transportation, it kind of reinforced what we were told when we met last time, that the monies come out of the local budget. So if monies go to do that, then it's less money to go for bush cutting and fixing our roads and
Of the
stuff.
21 items I had in that list.
Yeah. So,
so my question, actually my question still is, I think Wharf Rat Rally is something special, and I think the government needs to do something separately on that. So should we write a letter to Wharf Rat? Because someone's going to end up having to pay for this.
You
Yeah.
don't want to be me.
they're having a meeting coming up right soon,
Yes,
Wharf
but
Rat.
they said there's no questions, or
No,
there's
there's
no.
we're not going to be,
speaking.
no speaking,
Yeah.
but they'll be taking questions they'll be taking comments.
Yeah, I've already said.
But I don't think
okay.
that's probably the right venue to bring this question
No,
up.
no, it
But
isn't.
I would think that a discussion could be had with the organizers. They do get funding from the province, do they not, for helping to put on the event through tourism or something?
I
Don't
seem to
they-
recall
don't they?
something like
But
that,
it did.
$40,000 maybe, or
I
50,000?
think it was only, I think it was 20,
That's what they got this year?
I think so.
But-
It's not guaranteed from year to
No.
year, but.
But it'd be
And-
nice. It would be nice if somehow that a package could be put together, like on what their needs are, so that if they can't get the services from the Department of Transportation, if they have to hire Mackenzie Securities or another security company,
I don't think they're going to be allowed up there on the 101 to do that.
no. Well, it's no different than when the department, when the hydro company has these private people that have.
The hydro
signed.
people are there.
No, the hydro people are,
Yeah.
but they're hiring people
But
with the
they're
signs.
still
That's a
there.
company, yeah.
Right, but that company's providing that service to regulate the traffic flow. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what their expertise is.
So that's who we should hire.
So, no, I'm not
We're
saying,
not gonna-
no,
no.
not us, but I'm just asking if that may be.
I was under the impression on the 101 it has to be Department of Transportation employee. I could be wrong, but that
Well-
was what I sort of heard, but
I
I
don't-
could
I
have
don't-
misunderstood.
I know, like from traveling around, you see either, you see especially the Department of, no, not the department, but Nova Scotia Power, they hire outside companies that provide that service. And I don't know if the Department of Transportation, I don't think they do, but if they're not going to provide the service, I don't know if the government would help offset the cost of providing the service, that's all.
Yeah, but I'm saying we need to send a letter to WRFRAT now.
To say that we looked into this.
What
and-
we've looked into, what
Yeah.
has come back, because what they're saying out there is they don't have the money.
Mhm.
The only other thing is you let everything back up and hope the Mounties can clear it.
Yeah.
Yes?
Did TIR indicate how much extra it is under budget?
About $10,000, 7 to 10,
Yeah,
because everybody's on overtime.
Yeah.
It's actually, in fairness, I mean, we're even getting it cheaper than that from them because they're bringing in a lot of signage and stuff and setting that up, and I don't even think they're including that in the cost.
Probably
I
not.
think they're just charging the labor costs, so. But, yeah, I think we should pass this on to the management of WRFAT.
Okay. The next, under the standing committees, bylaw and policy, there was no recommendations. The committee of the whole recommendation is that the municipality of the district of Digby agree in principle to the proposal to enter into the intermunicipal agreement for Phase 1 of the rural internet connectivity.
I so move that we enter into agreement for Phase 1 of the rural internet connectivity.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. We'll now go to the advisory committees. Digby Source Water Protection Advisory is Councillor Adams, and I don't believe they've had a meeting.
There's been no meeting. We won't meet again, I believe, until January.
Okay. The Heritage Advisory Committee, I was at the last meeting, and just a moment, I have to bring forward. I hate it when it takes forever to open. Okay. What we did at the last Heritage meeting, we talked about the conference that we were at and what had happened. We were very pleased that the recommendation to accept Point Plan Lighthouse as a municipal heritage property was passed by council. Now we are doing an application to register Boar's Head Lighthouse. It was tabled and reviewed for consideration for the municipal heritage registration. So what we are asking is if council would recommend for the Boar's Head Lighthouse in Tiverton to be passed by council for the recommendation.
Pass recommendation.
To happen. The light was first established, just so you know, in 1863. The current light was constructed in 1957. Pepper Shaker Design, circuit 1900 to 1960, and there's only one of two in the district. Boar's Head Lighthouse is designated as a National Heritage Lighthouse by Heritage Canada. The application for this structure not only is for the structure only, not the grounds. And the stewarding society for the light is Friends of Boar's Head Lighthouse Society. They have maintained the light for several years now and plan on developing the site for visitors and creating trails in the area. So we are asking if the council would accept Boar's Head Lighthouse as a municipal heritage property. Could I have someone move that,
I
please?
move that the Boar's Head Lighthouse be accepted as municipal heritage property.
And is there a seconder?
Second.
Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, and that was all there was with our heritage meeting.
Okay.
The next is the Planning Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Councillor Adams, and Tudor, and there was none.
We haven't met for a while.
The next was the Joint RCMP Advisory Board. What, we have not met, but I was asked to go and meet the new staff sergeant and the new corporal, which I have done.
Are they nice?
Very, very nice. And Candace is the corporal who's come from BC,
Mm-hmm.
and She impressed me. She really did.
That's it.
And,
Right on.
And the staff sergeant was impressive too. So I think we have three really good people running the RCMP detachment.
Who's the other third?
Pardon me?
Is it 3 people? Sorry, I must
Rob
have missed-
Lewis,
Oh, okay.
who was already there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what I mean, the 2 corporals
Mr.
a-
Lewis.
and the staff sergeant, David Chubbs, are the leaders, and I think they'll run a good show. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
When I was talking to them, I told them I would like to take the opportunity, if council agrees, that we have a meet and greet with the officers, especially the new ones that are here, at a time that's convenient to them and to us. And they were very pleased and said yes, they would accept an invitation if council agreed to it.
Mhm.
Everyone's happy with that? Okay, so that will happen. It will probably be later in the month,
Okay.
in November,
Just-
not
yeah.
this month, in November. Okay, the next is the REMO Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
Been no meeting since last council.
And Western Regional Housing Authority, we had a report last month from Richard. The next is Age Friendly Community. Anything?
Nope.
We did have a meeting, and we were looking at how we go forward with the project for information packages about being age-friendly. We've had another meeting set up, but it was scheduled for the same date that we're supposed to do the rural internet workshop, so we're going to wait, and then we will need, until we settle on our committees, to have a new counselor appointed. So.
Okay. The Atlantic Mayor's Congress, there's been nothing since I updated you last month. The Canada Legacy Society, we already talked about in
Yeah.
advance.
It's like, yay!
I don't think we
one
need
less
to,
on the list.
we don't need to beat it to death. The next is the Digby Area Affordable and Supportive Housing Group, Councillor Tudor, Councillor Adams.
I missed the last meeting. I can't remember the problems, but I gave them my regrets. And they're thinking of a way of going forward without, they were originally thinking going big, and it's just not doable with the supports that are out there for subsidized housing. We don't have enough money. And so now they're starting to look at going small, which I think is a really good idea. Possibly using things for, here's a question. If they wanted to, like in the municipality, say, we got this house on a tax sale, it'd be useful for subsidized housing, or do they have to go through the tax sale with everybody else? That group for that purpose? To,
To bid on a.
the bid on a
they
property
would
to
have
be
to
used
go-
as subsidized housing.
They would have to bid on it at the tax sale.
All right, they wanted me to ask that. So so there is no mechanism for us to get rid of an old property like that for?
If we don't own it, we can't.
Mhm.
So are you asking about property that we own?
Uh,
Or,
well, stuff that comes up at tax sale.
then, yeah, we have to put it out.
You don't own
Yeah.
that, you're just holding it in lieu of, or?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not ours.
All right, they were just wondering about where we could pick up a very affordable house and then maybe stick 20 grand in it, and then we can get the ball rolling, is the hope. So I guess they'll have to
And
show
that's
up.
not until next year.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll send Bonnie. People will be less likely to vote against Sister Bonnie, wouldn't it? I don't know.
What will happen, the properties will come up, and for the sale, and they have to check them out themselves.
Yeah, because I can, yeah. I don't
And,
even look at that stuff.
No, but then they'll have to make up their mind if
Oh.
there's anything, and it doesn't mean that they will get it. The other point is, sometimes people redeem within 6 months,
Mhm.
unless it's one that's non-redeemable. So all those points are in it. Now, the only other thing that can come up, if we had property that we wanted to, like we did last time, we had bids on.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we can't give them any special treatment, but they would be allowed to do a bid.
On property that we already have. But
Like-
we'd have to put it out there for
Like,
sale, but not specifically to
Remember,
them.
here after, we had a bunch of properties, and there was some in Centerville, and we had a list of 7, wasn't it, Linda? And,
Yeah.
I remember those.
and we went through them, and then people were able to bid on them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a tax sale, it was bidding, and the highest bidder got it.
And this is stuff you just owned, for whatever reason.
It was a tender process, yeah,
Okay, so it has to go through a tender process. Okay,
okay.
Thank you very much.
Jimmy?
I had two things. Number
Then
one,
George.
has that committee cataloged what may be available for affordable housing in the municipality yet?
Yeah, they've done resource maps. There's very little.
Right, but the second part to that is, I know you've raised it before where there's a lot of homes that are seasonal homes. Is there a way that maybe the people could be given like a tax receipt if it was a nonprofit society set up so that they could get maybe rent the property or potentially rent the property if they were going to get an income tax receipt? Like say for example, you had some seasonal homes and they were in a family but they weren't being used. If someone was given a tax receipt, say for example you wanted to rent the house for $500 a month, but they wanted $1,000, could they be given a tax receipt for $500 and then be given cash for $500?
I know there's a lot.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I really don't know.
There's a lot that really ends up bumping into, there's tenant rights and stuff like that. So like, very, very difficult to get somebody out of a home than
Yeah.
in a home. So I know this is, from way back in the day when I was reading about land law and stuff like that.
Right.
That was, so they've even had hotels that someone has gone into for 3 months and then they tried to get them out and they couldn't
Oh.
because it met the letter of the law for tenancy agreements, and there's, you never know when there might be a disagreement. So I'm quite sure that would be unworkable
All right.
in that method. Like, sure, you can agree to be 8 months, but people don't always agree, and there's remedies through the courts for when this happens, so then that will happen.
Yeah.
And do you have a second question?
No, the other thing too is like I don't think it's affecting us here, but it's been on the news lately, like where these Airbnbs have really been drawing up the rental market because people are taking the properties, they're buying them up, and they're putting them on the market for Airbnbs, and I don't know if we're running into that here.
It's
But,
starting to happen.
Yeah.
Starting to happen. I knew somebody that owned 20 houses, and they never even knew about Airbnb. I was explaining it to them because they had about half of them empty
Yeah.
at the time, the tax sale people. And he's like, what? Airbnb? And looked it up. But it's rearing its ugly head in the area.
Yeah.
And those things are causing a lot of problems for traditional tourism businesses
Yeah.
as well. And plus, they avoid the taxation for being a business because it's usually on the down low, Airbnb. So you're competing with somebody that has to pay tons of taxes, and you don't. And a lot of people are using it. You know how it is with these rented out for a week here and there.
George? Oh, I thought you had a question. Oh, okay.
Just listen.
That's fair. Okay, I don't think, is there anything else on that? Then the next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corporation.
No meeting.
Digby Area Learning Association, Councilor Manzer, there's the April minutes, September board report, executive director's report, and June minutes. Any questions, George?
Just just into life without the CRC, so just kind of working on it.
Okay. The next is the Digby Area Recreation Commission, Warden Gregory, Councilor Manzer. The September minutes are there, Recreation Manager, Facility Supervisor, and Acting Living Coordinator, October reports. The biggest thing, we've put in our ice early due to some rentals that are going to happen. The summer went well. There are several things that are going to happen under the Active Living Coordinator. They're setting up programs. They're setting up programs to the different seniors, youth, whatever. Yes?
Last week there was an announcement that
Mhm.
our MP made, like
Mhm.
there was monies for
Yes.
recreation, and that's for the pool.
I was going to talk about that a little later, but
Oh.
I can do part of it now. Yeah, I emceed it. What it was, our little wading pool last year we couldn't use because of the leak. So this year we applied. We got $36,000, but we got to do the work in advance because we couldn't have done it, so it happened before. So and it's working well. And anyone who was there who wanted a tour got a tour. Yeah.
So it was nice then that you were able to get the money that way.
Well, we had to, well, you paid and they, yeah, but everything was worked out. So we were very pleased. Is there any other questions under Digby Recreation? Okay. Digby Area Tourism Association, Councilor Manzer, September minutes.
They had a meeting in October, which I wasn't able to attend, but we'll get the minutes in for that.
Okay. The other thing that's happening, they are having a 10th anniversary for the Digby Area Board of Trade. Digby Area Tourism Association, celebrating its 10th anniversary with a grand unveiling of inspiring content, video, and photography. You are invited Thursday, September 24th, 2016, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Digby Fire Hall.
7 to 9, so if you
What was the date
finish
again, September 24th?
today in less than 25 minutes.
November.
Oh.
November.
Okay.
I said September, and I apologize.
Still only have
I'm-
time.
You might have time.
Yeah, it was last month. November the 24th, it's a Thursday. So that is happening, and those are those, yes. And those are those videos that were done
Yeah.
to the grant proposal,
Oh, that the
province?
from the
And
kid
us?
down the neck did those videos? No.
No, these
Different
are
ones.
professional.
No, the professional ones,
Okay.
7 to 9, was it?
7 to 9. Okay. The next is the Digby Development Agency, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
We had a special meeting with our MP, Colin Fraser, to talk to him and bring him up to speed on where we are with the positioning Digby for the title industry. So that was the only thing on the agenda, really.
How do you seem with that?
Very positive.
Very positive.
I think it's fair to say that we let them know that we're just trying to position the community for maybe a multi-use facility.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, we don't want to ever see any negative impact to what we already have in the fishery.
Yeah.
You don't want to trade one for another, but and he was glad to hear that. And but I thought it was a good meeting with him. It lasted an hour, and so it sounded like he sees a lot of potential for that for this area too. So it's a matter of him being our voice, because there's other people out there trying to also attract the servicing of the title industry in their communities as well. So, but I think that we work together with the different communities. I think there's enough there for all of us if we want to do it properly.
Any other questions?
I'm just always interested in the Digby Harbor Port Association. Sorry.
Okay, any other, since there is none? The next is the Digby Port Association, Harbor Port Association. We had a meeting. Business is going along as usual. As I told you, we do have a new chair, which is Vance Hazelton. The other thing that's happening, we are having tomorrow at 5 o'clock, starting with a board governance meetings, workshop, I should say. I told them I would be late, but I will come when we're finished here. The harbor has been full and it's been busy.
So your tall ships are coming
And
next
we
summer.
are now looking, I guess, again at, we had a secretarial person who had left, and they didn't think that they were going to replace her. But now it's not official yet, but they're looking at it being a part-time position.
So you're going to find room to tie up some of the tall ships next summer? You got
Hopefully.
space for that?
We don't like the tall ships because we go from extremely crazily busy in the islands to a ghost town.
Oh.
Just like that. It's the same people that come take a look. So whenever the tall ships come, the
It only
business
comes every
grinds to
5,
a
10
halt.
years.
Hey, come up and have a look, eh?
Yes, come up, come up.
Maybe I'll have to. Nothing else to be going on.
Yes, I mean, we want the tall ships.
It appeals to the same kind of tourists that would come to the islands, I guess.
I'm sure they'll make sure that they're, usually put them on the side.
Outside?
It's the side, where the new road or the new breakwater is, that side of the wharf. What's that, what side is that called?
The
Oh, it
Lee?
is, okay, just the outside.
Outside.
Lee?
I mean, I know where they put them.
The Lee?
I just don't always tell you where you're going. Any questions? Okay, the next is the Digby Library Committee.
There's been no meeting.
The next is the Digby Municipal Fire Association. We have the August minutes. Counselor Tudor.
We had a really good meeting. I got that information. Jimmy McAlpine, when he was in Winnipeg, gave me so they all got a copy of that, and they're going to look over it, and then they're going to discuss whether or not they want to move ahead with it. But the more exciting thing is they brought in a risk assessor from the province, and I was discussing, he was like, for example, this will solve two problems for us. They want to do a collective insurance, because there's a 20% commission on each one of those, and if you do it as an RFP, you just say $15,000. So instead of $60,000 going to in commission fees going out, you'll be spending $15,000. But the really interesting thing is that, as I've been worried about this for a while, they would all have $300,000 or $3 million liability. They all have 24-hour, $200,000 if you drop dead. And now you can be in your lawn and you'll still get your money. Your spouse will still get the money. And there's there's a huge gulf between those different. And sometimes they'll have like one insurance policy on something worth $6,000 and another insurance policy on the building, but the building probably cost $1 million to rebuild, and they only have $150,000 on the building, that sort of stuff, and it's right through every one of them. I would say the vast majority are not adequately covered, and as you know, if in the case of an accident, they'd be looking after us as they follow the money of the lawyers, and they'd suggest we have a duty of care. So this would save them a bunch of money, give them universal coverage, adequate, proper coverage. Everybody's on the same page, and I'm just really excited about it. And I think it's a no-brainer, and I know everybody at the last meeting was on board and kind of excited and interested in it. And I'm just glad that I think that would really solve some liability problems. And it's not us dictating it to them. This is something that's come out of their own devices. So it hits all the dots I want to see hit. I love it. So there, yeah. And I took 2 donuts to my kids afterwards. I took 2 donuts. They always bring donuts and no one eats them.
Oh,
2 sprinkled donuts, and that's how that meeting went.
okay.
We're taking these home. Another girl's saying, I can't. Ugh, I used to work at Tim Hortons. I hate Tim Hortons. Smells so bad.
Okay. Next is the Highway 101 Task Force. We have not had a meeting, though as our next meeting is November the 21st. So see who's on
Still
that.
for December, whatever, they're going to start the grubbing in December, supposedly?
Yeah.
Still.
And the next is the King's Transit Authority. Our meeting is on Wednesday evening. Our bus has been out of commission off and on for several days this past month. And I'm going to be talking to them because we've had an old bus down there that doesn't run that they sent down, and why our other bus is getting its new engine, the whole refit.
Which one? Our
Our
oldest one?
our old.
Didn't
one.
they paint that? They painted that
Yeah,
one.
but they were doing a refit
Oh, okay, on the mechanical.
inside, yeah,
Okay.
on the engine or whatever.
One question I have for you in regards to King's Transit, how much impact did this election have on the makeup of that board? Because I know in the valley, there was a lot of people that didn't get back
I
in.
wouldn't know until Wednesday night.
Okay. Because it's hard to say
Yeah,
how
that's
many
true,
people will be
yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah, because I know Anna's still on. I mean, from Berwick.
Okay.
And Mercedes, I believe, won in Wolfville, so she'd still be there. Kings County, there was changes, so I don't know, because, that night, tomorrow night, there'll be all of us there. Or,
Okay.
sorry, Wednesday night, the same, because it's our old,
Right, okay.
but like Wayne Atwater wasn't reelected, and there was some changes there, so
Mark Pearl wasn't.
and, so there's several of them that will not be back, but I assume they'll be at the meeting Wednesday night.
Okay, who's the chair?
Mercedes.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, and the deputy chair, I believe, is Ms. Raven, and she was reelected.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, I won't know anything until Wednesday night.
Yep.
The next is the open spaces, Counselor Manzer and Tudor.
We haven't had one since the last one, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I got all kinds of fascinating things to tell them about.
That made a lot of sense, David.
Did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're looking for money.
We haven't had one
Better
since the
believe it,
last one.
baby.
Looking forward to
Better
the next
believe
one.
it.
Money, we're keeping our tabs.
Okay, children. Senior Safety Committee, Counselor Tudor, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Coordinator September Report,
There hasn't been a meeting since the last council meeting.
and your financial report and July minutes. Okay. Shared Services Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselors Adams and Tudor.
Geez, we haven't had one of those in ages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might be time to, maybe after the next couple of months, to have one, really.
Transport declared, Counselor Manzer.
There hasn't been any meeting for last month, in October.
Okay. Tyview Terrace, Counselor Tudor.
Manzer.
Manzer, sorry.
We had a September meeting, and I got the minutes into Pat, but they were a little bit late, so too late to get them in for our meeting.
Still waiting.
They'll be there next month.
It's few council.
Okay.
And it's just business as usual. Things are nothing. We did have that, I don't know what you call it, where we experienced what it was like to be
The dementia.
dementia.
Oh,
I don't remember what it was. Too many
You know, that place, that
too many
thing.
ailments. I couldn't remember which one it was.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
But
Use the box
I
too.
got- but they had very good, people commented on how well they liked it, and so maybe they'll do that again sometime, or something similar.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That's my wife, how to spell idiot.
Okay, the next is waste check. Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine, September meeting notes.
And there's been no meeting.
The Upper Clements Park Society. I actually attended the meeting the other day. They are working on the end of the year report, and the meeting went to 10 after 11.
Oh, sounds
6:30.
Oh.
It was a long
Is that
long
why
meeting.
Stuff's talking about garbage?
After 11.
Well, they were talking about everything and anything. And I'll be honest, until they send out the minutes, a lot of it,
Blur.
it was
Oh, after a
because
poor,
It's too
meeting
long.
that long,
Too
yeah,
long
of
for a
course it's gonna
meeting.
be blurred.
I asked a lot of questions, honestly, because they, bring up things. Like for the food, they didn't make as much profit as they felt they should have. So there was a lot of discussion on that, and there was 7 places and what each one made. It was like very detailed. What was
Ketchup
spent,
packet,
what was
budget
not
line
spent,
is out of control.
what was the wages, so it was a very detailed report.
Okay.
And they were disappointed because they felt there should have been better money made on that. They had a good intake of visitors. They were really pleased on the amount of visitors they had. Park was busy all summer. but I can't tell you financially how they are yet because
Just
there
in the
was so
sunny
much
days,
stuff.
I'm sure they did good, just from that
Well-
compared to last year.
Hardly
Now,
any rain, right?
much
what,
better than before.
what did happen at the meeting, they wanted Counselor Adams and myself to go to Truro to do the awards, which Upper Clemens had sponsored a race group, okay? I mean, not the cars, but they were part of the sponsorship towards awards, and it was really free advertising all over the 4 provinces, so it was very good. Like I said, I went and I was impressed what I saw with these young men, I shouldn't say young men and women, and the category we were covering would have been, I'd say, 14 to 18 it looked like, maybe a little younger. And at the table, the president was explaining to me some things like this one young boy won, and they said, he's come a long ways. His father died 3 years ago of cancer. And, he only has his mom, and his mom has been supportive, but the car he drives is not owned by him, but by another person. And, he received 3 awards that night. It was fabulous to see, and, it was nice hearing. And these kids are from all over the province. They're down from Shelburne, they had kids as young, in another group, as kids as young as 8 years old racing. But she told me,
Racing what?
she said to me, think of soapbox derby cart for the little ones with hoods and all that stuff on them. But I'll tell you, it was fabulous to see. And they got up to speak, the top ones. And one little guy, I couldn't get over it, he said, I want to thank, and he listed every sponsor. He paused on a couple, and his dad told them. He did an excellent job. Then another little fellow got up, and it was so funny, he went, I would like to thank my grandfather and my father and anyone else who helped us. Thank you very much, and that's all I got to say.
Well, he'd make a terrible politician.
I mean, he was just so, but,
To the point like that.
but they were so little and young, and, it was,
Yeah, it'd be funny.
it was, because, because they were running, but it really was an excellent evening, long, but excellent. Now we will go to, where did they go? Western County Regional Library, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There hasn't been a board meeting since the last council, but I did attend the fundraising event on Saturday night for the Literacy Legacy Fund. And, it was a sold-out event. They sold 103 tickets. That's what they set out for. Really nice. They did a great job on it. I'd say they raised just over $10,000, so it's a good turnout. Michelle Doucette from Weymouth. I don't know if you know him. George, you would know Michelle, don't you?
Michelle.
Doucette?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he volunteered. He painted a painting during the evening, and they auctioned it off, and I think they got $500 for the painting. It was really nice, and but no, it was a good event, and we're hoping to do it again next year, and then every other year after that. So, because we have another event, the Adopt a Book program, so we want to stagger it so the Adopt a Book's 1 year, and then the Literacy Legacy Fund dinner is the following year, so that there's continuous work being done on trying to generate some revenue, because we're mandated that we have to generate 3% of the budget. That's where it has to come from, monies that they generate at the libraries. So,
3%, that's quite a bit.
yeah,
For photocopies and late fines that nobody pays.
yeah.
What do you mean nobody pays? I thought you had to pay them if you wanted to get a book out again.
Well, that's how it works in theory.
No, they do collect monies. They
Yeah.
collect monies every year for that, but it has been made harder and harder to come up with the revenue that's needed. and there's only been one increase in the last 7 or 8 years from the provincial government, so,
That's right, because,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been a long time.
so, that's it.
Okay. The next is the Western Regional Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There hasn't been a meeting, but there was the annual general meeting for the Western Ren, and which I attended down in Yarmouth, and it was very well attended by the business sector as well as the politicians, and I believe the Ren's on good track. They're moving along forward very well. They've got a new chair now, Warner Camo. He was the vice chair, and Alistair Surratt was the chair, but his time was up because they have 2 consecutive years. So Alistair has gone down, and he's now the vice chair. So, but everybody that's term was up had reapplied, and they all got reappointed. So there was no changes in the board. But I'm really happy and pleased to see that the interest of the people that are sitting around that table to volunteer their time to try to make this work, because they're doing a great job.
Okay. Next is Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee, Warden Gregory, Councillor Manzer. We had a meeting on October the 18th. My months are going. On October the 18th with the public, which was called the Weymouth Crisis, and where we are today. The Health Authority spoke, Dr. Crystal Todd. I spoke on what our committee had done so far. We will be meeting again to see where we're going from there. The people are very unhappy. We do have 5 doctor positions in Digby that are needed. They were quite adamant there's going to be no doctor in the Weymouth area, that the only way there'll be a doctor is if some of the doctors from Digby come down for a day or whatever. We also would like to see more nurse practitioners. The crowd got a little hot and heavy, like they told Dr. Todd to be quiet, so she went and sat down and didn't speak again. I just felt chair should have stepped in a little bit, because I know the people were upset, but you don't. Yeah. People are upset, and people deserve to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
But what's sad, it's really bad, because we have all these people that are coming for prescriptions, and we have a doctor coming in for 3 Tuesdays, which are all booked, the 18th and 2 weeks, and a week and a week later, and he's the one who came in for Dr. Norian, Norian's office.
Who's also leaving.
Yes, and November the 30th he's done.
That? Soon. So now will be 6. Will it be anybody? Any doctors?
No?
Dr. Ron at the ER.
Well, there'll be the ER doctors, yeah.
And that's it.
Well, Dr. Black has a full complement of I heard his group is between 3,500 and 4,000. And Dr. Mander has a full practice now. I had been told he'd cut down, but he's still running 20-some hundred people. And when you think when the new doctors come in, they go from 500 to 1,200. Most of them stay around 500. So even though they're saying there's 5 positions open, they're not even taking John Black's place. 5 doctors wouldn't cover John Black. That's what scares me. That's what makes me.
That is scary.
Because they're saying, that they don't expect them to run heavy loads like the other doctors, the older doctors did. But when you're hearing they've only taken on 500 patients.
Was there any discussion on maybe trying to get, I know that they're going to bring a doctor in 3 different weeks, but is there any chance of them extending that to make it so that there's a doctor in there once a week, even just to do prescriptions or referrals or whatever? Like Dr. Harding's in Bear River at the clinic there,
Mhm.
and he came back
Until
on
they can
his
get
own.
doctors in the Digby Clinic, They can't do it. That's what they're saying, because they can't,
Yeah.
they want them to come out of Digby Clinic to do that.
To do that?
Yes.
Okay. What about the doctors in the Clare Clinic? Are they available also?
No, but what the Clare Clinic did say on their day of being open for on call, they will now take anyone from any area.
They will.
Yeah. They changed their stance.
I've been talking to a lot of people about doctors lately. A lot of people, when they move down, keep their doctor in Halifax or in New
Well,
Brunswick.
they're
It's
smart
one
to.
person.
They're smart to until they find one.
But even, like, if they could have a doctor, like, from the Meteghan Clinic, even working out of Weymouth, to service Weymouth, but also, it would cover a lot of Clare. I mean, it's a lot closer if you're living back on the 340, or if you're living in Church Point to go to Weymouth, than it is to drive all the way down to Meteghan.
Oh, yeah, but the doctors in the Clare Health Center do not want to come up to Weymouth.
Okay.
And Dr. Dow made that very plain, and you cannot ask. I mean,
You
you
can't
can't
ask.
force them, I
No,
mean.
we can't.
We ask, but you can't force
You
them.
can't force them to. No,
So-
I just thought it would be worth that.
Well, it would be
asking.
nice if, you know, you had some working,
Relationship.
together, yeah.
Yeah.
Linda,
Yes,
the doctor that's coming to Weymouth a one-day week, is he also working in Digby?
yes, the other 4 days.
The other 4 days?
Yes.
So for a period of 3 weeks, and after that,
He's gone and Dr. Norian's back. And Dr. Norian is not taking on any patients, like he's not seeing any of his patients. He's just doing up. That's all he's doing for the next month is his wrap-up.
but this other doctor's only here for 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's what Dr. Norian got him to come in for. You can't get him to come in when he's back.
Severe head trauma.
So, yeah, it's really scary.
Yep.
The next is council district reports. Let's start with you.
One other thing about the doctors, is there any long-term, anything coming down long-term that you know that?
Not that I know of.
that you
I mean, we will be having another meeting.
Yeah.
And,
Because back in June or July, they said there was in September, 3 doctors coming for 3 months or whatever.
that's not going to happen.
That's not- no, I
That
knew that
failed.
was, but there's nothing to replace that. There's nothing.
No, not yet. And I'm waiting to hear, there's a possibility that maybe we've got some doctors coming next year, but I have not heard anything yet. It's all possible.
Not good.
Anything else? Okay. David?
Oh. Did you want our district report?
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah.
doing.
Oh, okay. The doctor recruiting meeting last week in Tuesday, which was, a little rowdy a couple times there, but there was also a meet and greet at the Digby Fire Hall for the candidates meeting a couple of weeks ago. And 4 weeks of campaigning, that took up most of my spare time, I guess. So how about it?
Okay. David?
I'm just going to throw this out. There's a young girl I've been talking to the last couple of years who plans on being a doctor. She's the top student in the school. She's been accepted into the biology department, medical biology department for her BA. She's just starting her,
For BS.
BS, I'm sorry.
No, she wouldn't go for a BA to
No,
become
no, BS, you're right.
Okay.
And she's also through the O2 program working at the hospital up in Yarmouth. So if there's any, I just want to throw this out, if there's any sort of little
We
meeting-
have to wait until they get into med school,
Yeah.
and then we look at how we can help them.
No, what I'm hoping is to keep my finger on this and encourage it, because she wants to come back. If there's any sort of like a dinner or something, she's, very responsible, very smart girl, extremely hardworking, has a job. Maybe, keep that finger in the pie. You know what I mean?
And I
If there's like
had-
a dinner, maybe we could
yeah.
invite her too. or
We
something.
could have something.
Yeah, and I told her that we
to,
can't do anything for the BS, but we'd be very interested in holding your hand the whole way through the process. And
Yep.
I brought it up to her now for 3 years, ever since I heard she wanted to be a doctor, because they've done that in Clare to great success. So I was like, well, here's one. You know what I mean? I'll start working on her now.
That's what we want to do. We want to work on these students.
I wish there
but
was a way
can't-
we could do it
can't
more
offer them.
coherently, though, like a plan for, you don't have to rely on, like, for example, myself, I just happen to know all the kids in the school. But, you know, other counselors probably don't. So I was just wondering if there's any way to get an eye so you can put the bug in the bonnet.
It's only if you hear. Again, under confidentiality.
No, you
we're not-
could solicit, like, hey, tell them, if anyone's interested in, if somebody's blah, 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 tell them to get a hold of us.
Oh,
I'm sure
okay.
they do the same thing in Clare. And I would love to start seeing, like, that sort of long-term thinking, especially since we have an example of it working very well, very close. Okay, rest. School food bank drive is almost done. They got me a ton of food. The Digby Neck Collective, you guys know I've been talking about how West Law Island's got the FCDA in the villages, but the Digby Neck has no villages or groups. So Melissa and Gwen are super awesome people. They took it and ran, so thank you everybody to them. About 30 people altogether, so I think it was a good start. I went to a second title meeting. There was about different people, same amount as last time, and I got no calls or complaints, and there was no calls or complaints while I was there. I had to leave 5 minutes early to catch a ferry. The Bog Boardwalk, as I mentioned, the money came through on the federal end of that. I went to the Village of Westport to strike a committee because they want the Westport to have like a sense of ownership and contribute towards the design. I was thinking of going, trying to get a professional in, but the scientist told me, he says, why don't we just get together over a table instead of paying someone? We could do it for you. So, tell you where you can go and how to go about doing it. So they have expertise. So that's pretty cool. I'm back volunteering with the school. Just every single thing on the male chaperone. They have a little bit of trouble finding male chaperones down there, and they always help me, so I always help them. So it all works. Oh, been given wood and a lot of housing stuff. It seems I'm dealing with housing more and more as time goes on, and now the Island Manor is completely full with one person waiting on a waiting list. So it's packed to the brim, which is pretty interesting because 4 years ago it was a little less than half full. And when I was talking about getting an elevator in there, they told me not to even bother because it's the least used, and there's only 2 people on the top, remember? But, yeah, seems to be
Are we
going.
going to get an elevator now?
No, they don't need one. At the time, there was a couple people that wanted to get it, would have. But now the people on the second floor are all quite able at the moment that I know of. Yeah. Sorry, that's it.
Okay. Jimmy?
Outside of campaigning, since the last council meeting, I attended the Tidal Infrastructure meeting in Halifax, which I think I reported to at Committee of the Whole. And myself and Terry attended the meeting with Ben, the mayor, and it was an okay meeting. I don't think we learned anything too much new, except the fact that we need to really decide that, or set the directions here for a multi-use terminal rather than just look at a specific, something tied just to title. I think because it's going to get better traction when you come to deal with other government agencies when it comes to funding. But and other than that, when I went around door to door, I took a lot of notes from people with their concerns, and I've talked to our MLA, and I'm going to have a sit down with them within the next month just to go over the list, because about 90% of the things were provincial issues. But and I have a couple, local ones to bring forward, but I'm not, I'll bring them up to the CAO at a later date. That's it.
Okay. And what I have done, I attended the TLC, I attended the Friends of Farrell's fundraiser.
How was that? Sorry.
It was well done. They raised around $2,900.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Very,
I shared
very
their
good.
advert, but I didn't make it myself up there.
So, but they were happy. They had quite a few people there. I also attended the Digby Neck Collective, but you've already talked about it. I'm not going to repeat that. I also met with Colin Fraser on the 13th with the DDA, but before that, we met with Colin to discuss some other things. I also attended the TLC Animal Shelter fundraiser, and I haven't heard how much they've made from that one. I attended Follow in My Moccasins, which was on Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women on Saturday. very, very well done. The first part is called the blanket ceremony. And what they do, there's all these blankets on the floor with different things written on them. It could be heritage, treaty, different cultural things, respect. And then they started going from what had happened and how when the settlers came in, as we were called, pieces of the blanket, and it was sad at the end of it what you saw. And up until 2010, we're still working on things that have not been finished.
The death rate for going to residential schools is the exact same death rate as it was for people going overseas for World War II. Same death rate.
I mean, it was scary. Then they had music come in, and it was fantastic music. The lady that comes is from Shelburne, but she's in Ohio part-time and in Shelburne the other 6 months. She's with Two Nations. And her songs they made you want to cry.
Is this up Bear River?
Yeah. And they had another young Mi'kmaq man who did an excellent job on, he did an instrumental, and then he did a song he wrote with music, with guitar, and he told us it took him 1.5 years to do that. Really great job. And then Terry Farnsworth was there. And then after that, the next thing they did was discuss the deaths and missing women and young ladies. So it was pretty heavy. And then I also attended at the curling club last week. The monies that were given out was to the town of Digby for completing upgrades to its downtown promenade, including renovations to the sidewalk, deck, and railing, the additions of the new outdoor furniture and a water bottle refilling station, and engineering, design, and services. I can't wait for that water bottle refilling station. I think that's going to be fantastic. The Digby Area Recreation Commission completed upgrades to the Digby Community Swimming Pool, including repairs to the filtration system and the efficiency upgrades to the wading and main pools. And the last was the Bear River Board of Trade in completing improvements to the Bear River Community Greenhouse and waterfront gardens, including rehabilitation, an existing glass structure into the community greenhouse, and enhancing landscaping to beautify the waterfront area. So it was well done, and you know, there was not a great number of people there, but there was a few people. And I would pretty well say is covered my time. It was busy. So, on saying that, there is no in-camera tonight. So, could we have an adjournment, please?
Has there been a date set for the Christmas staff party?
Not yet, not yet.
A
And is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.